YouTubers are on a thing, Cartoon Power Up and Beyblade official Metal Series for the clips. Now let's go. After the events of Beyblade Metal Fusion, Beyblade Metal Masters will give us a Beyblade more powerful than Storm Pegasus and Lightning El Drago, known as the Legendary Bey, due to its performance tip having untold speed and a lot of attack power. Now Gingka, equipped with this Beyblade, would then take on the whole world with this team to prove to everyone that they are the strongest in the world. But I'm here to explain why I think Gingka's fights were poorly done in Metal Masters, and why I think the Galaxy Pegasus performance tip storyline was poorly told. Now, strap in and let's get on with the video. Alright, now let's start with how Gingka and Galaxy's fights were poorly handled. The examples I'm using is in his fight with Dashan and Nooguma. First with Dashan, since he's the first in the whole world championship. Gingka wanted to end the fight early, so that's pretty smart thinking on him, but sadly enough his special move is stopped and repelled. So now here's my first problem. Why should I believe anything else Gingka does in this situation can be of meaning to against Dashan, since his most powerful attack was stopped? What else can he do in this situation? And my theory is kind of like proven correct throughout the match, right? Because when he tries to fight Rock Zarafa and Dashan, it's like, okay, he tries to normally hit him and normally clash with him, the rubber just stops him and he just takes damage from it. And now when he tries to use small basic attack to minimize damage, and here's what happens, the solid iron wall. So those minimal attacks just straight up can't do any damage anymore, and they're just not useful anymore. And this leads to Gingka relying on his plot armor, which isn't bad. I think other fights have done this better, but in this situation it's just not done well, since it's so blatantly obvious that Gingka can't win this fight, and that he has to get stronger somehow mid-fight. And this leads to a scene to where he realizes he's not alone in the World Championships, and that he has his friends by his side, which isn't terrible and can work on paper, but I just feel like it wasn't executed that well. Since it's nice to see Gingka be nervous, I do like this aspect of his character, that he's overwhelmed by these people and by the chanting. But I just feel like it wasn't well established, since he was all confident and not cocky, but just really confident going into this and really excited. Now this is still just the pressure getting on the guy, but I still wish we see more of Gingka's nerves before heading into this. And especially since what wins him this fight is Star Booster attack, the same attack that basically didn't do anything. Now let's get some things out of the way. I know Dashan didn't use the rubber in this scene, that's why he kind of lost this battle, which is fair, and I don't want to fault the scene for that. And plus I know that they had information on him, like, okay, this is Galaxy Pegasus, this is what it can do. They just didn't have knowledge on the Star Booster attack, but even then, even without the knowledge, it was easily stopped. So I just felt like this was poorly handled. I felt like it could have been done better. Now I'll bring up some good examples of this by comparing the other Pegasus in their fighting styles. But let's get on to the second example, because I feel like his encounter with Nooguma is much worse. Now Gingka vs. Nooguma was pretty bad. Not a bad fight. It was a pretty fun fight for me. I really like a moment from it. But it's the fact that can't do anything against Nooguma. Like, every time he tries to do a basic hit, the Bear Claw just stops him instantly. Like, I don't want to diss Nooguma, he's the best in this country, but still, it's the fact that Galaxy Pegasus is a legendary Beyblade, the best, better than El Drago and Storm Pegasus. And now you can't make the argument that El Drago and Storm Pegasus aren't that strong without training, which is fair, and I don't want to give that to like Galaxy Pegasus too, because he's also not that strong without training from what the looks of it is. But it's the fact that the show tries to hype him up so much, like destroying Masamune 5 or 7 times. And when he's fighting him for the first time, this giant boulder falls under him. And the fact that Galaxy Pegasus is spinning so fast that it destroys the boulder on top of it with just raw power, that knocks Roy Striker away just by him being near Galaxy Pegasus. And the fact that the first launch of Galaxy Pegasus knocks Gingka backwards, showing its strength while destroying a giant boulder, is impressive. But it's the fact that when Gingka gains control over Galaxy Pegasus, he just feels weaker. He's not destroying things as crazily, and he's not like as wild. But that's the point, like, this power is more control. But at that control, it just feels like Galaxy Pegasus is weaker. Now that's not bad. I do like this more controlled Galaxy Pegasus, but it's the fact that he's so outmatched. I'll go on that later, but again, these are the best of the best in their country. Noguma, the best in Russia. Dashan, the best in China. But that's not what I hate. It's my problem is that Ginga is so outmatched in these fights. Like his basic attacks don't do anything. Like Noguma, he tries to hit him, doesn't do anything. Now the Shine I'll give a bit of a pass to because at least he has the rubber. But now Ginga is just outmatched by these bladers so badly that he's mostly relied on Star Booster, which just brings out his trump card too early and makes the fight a bit unappealing. Because with the Shine's case, he had to bring out Plot Armor and finish him off with the same attack that he used before. Which isn't bad, but it sucks to see that he had to use Star Booster again to finish off the Shine. And with Nooguma, I like how he tricks him to using his force to break the cage, but it still sucks that nothing else worked and he just used Star Booster and wins. Which just sucks to me. Now, there is like something you can notice by now, a pattern with these battles, that they all mostly have the problem of Ginga being the underdog in this fight. Like he's made out to be the underdog, which isn't a bad formula for Ginga, and you can do it well, especially Metal Masters. I think it has the best sequence of underdog storytelling for Ginga, to where it's like Julian. Julian's a great story to where Jinga's the underdog in this situation. He not only beat Ginga before, Gravity Destroyer is actually based off a hero and has a story behind it, which hypes up this Beyblade more. Left and right rotation only Ryuga had, which gives us a reminder of Ryuga, and actually was a bit of a first appearance by Ryuga in a flashback. And it also, Gravity Destroyer had unique abilities, freezing people, which is later revealed to be gravity control, and then he took a team on by himself. This is the best in their country, and he just easily beat them all. 3 people too. He also beat the Cheyenne without needing to go out there himself, showing his team is threatening, and he's their leader. And the fact that he also has a good motivation, like we get to know him, like he does blading because he wants money, and he wants to be at the top, but he's actually putting in hard work. Like we get to know this guy, and he deserves to be at the top because he looks like he puts in just as much effort as Ginga, and practicing a lot. And the fact that he needed to beat Ginga before this, right? To really add more weight to Ginga's victory, especially with the highs and lows of the battle. Like there's like a consistent flowing chart. Like Ginga knows what Julian's gonna do, and he predicted his left rotation, so he has a bit of an advantage. But Julian unleashes more of his power, and Ginga starts being on the back foot. But then Ginga starts. Sorry, I'm stuttering a lot. But still, you get what I'm trying to say. Like, the back and forth of the fight is consistent. It's like what the announcer said, it's a topsy-turvy battle. And that's what I like about that battle. It really does have ups and downs that leads to story beats, like the performance tip plot points, which I really like. Let me calm down. But yes, short story, I think Julian versus Ginga was the best underdog story that Ginga had. Now, let's move on to something. So now onto the performance tip storyline, because it was handled poorly, with it being mentioned in episode 2 of Metal Masters, or 53 if we count the playlist. It would be brought up later in episode 29 in Gravity Destroyer, the episode with Ginga vs. Julian, and my problem with it is that it didn't have proper setup. Ginga goes through the whole A block normally, not knowing this, or not understanding Galaxy Pegasus, and kind of just waving off what Madoka said in the bitch shop, right? Which is weird, especially since that sounds really important to Galaxy Pegasus, and the fact that he just kind of waves it off is weird. And the fact that it's like Ryuga tells him of all people. Like remember, Ryuga is seeing this bay for the first time. He has never seen this bay. And he knows more than Ginga that he's like, you should master your bay. Or you haven't mastered it yet. And that's weird because like I said before, he has never seen this bay. And the fact that he knows it more than Ginga, or knows that he hasn't mastered it, is ridiculous to me. And the fact when he masters it, it's in one battle. Now, I believe Jinga's skilled enough to do it, but I would have liked a story more about, like, okay, he's slowly and slowly mastering Galaxy Pegasus, not just mastering it in one fight, because that just kind of defeats the purpose of the hype that Galaxy Pegasus had. Like, oh, we couldn't control Galaxy Pegasus, it was just too strong. Then it's just like, you master it in one fight. I like the control over Galaxy Pegasus and how it took a whole episode and Jinga losing and realizing something about himself. But the fact that he just masters it in one fight defeats the purpose of the hype to me of Galaxy Pegasus. Now, I wouldn't mind this so much that Galaxy Pegasus just had this performance tip, but no, this is the reason why Galaxy Pegasus is known as a legendary Bay. And the fact that they could have done it better by sprinkling it throughout the fights that Jinga had. Like, a good example, Jinga versus Dashan. Like, after the speech to where he realizes he's not fighting alone in the World Championship, there's a direct moment to where Jinga speeds up, or Galaxy Pegasus speeds up. You can tie this to Jinga, or the Galaxy Pegasus using his unimaginable speed, which Madoka would later say in the Gravity Destroyer fight. Or his battle versus Kyoya, to where when he's cheering himself on and hyping himself up more, he's doing it instinctually, not shown off as a friendship thing. And Madoka would comment on these sections saying that it's like, oh, is Jinga using the performance tip? Because when Kyoya uses his special move that pushes back against your spin speed, this would be a cool time to Galaxy Pegasus having really good spin speed because of the performance tip. And you can just have moments to where it's like Madoka throughout this fight, or these fights, it's like, is Jinga using the performance tip? Or they just zoom in on the performance tip like what they would do in the Gravity Destroyer fight. Now, I like that he has to master it during the Gravity Destroyer fight. It makes the moment more impactful. But it's the fact that these moments have good setup to the storyline of Galaxy Pegasus, and the fact that it's like not done at all and mentioned in the one-off line doesn't return for like episode 29 is just disappointing to me. So yeah, I guess we're on to the next section. Now, one small thing that I want to get off my chest before I start to end this video with some small things about Galaxy Pegasus is that I kind of wish Galaxy Pegasus fought a bit differently, or there was a mention of him having a faster spin speed, because after Jinga mastered Galaxy Pegasus really didn't feel different. I don't mind it too much since I at least got my second favorite special move being Stardust Driver out of it, but still, I kind of wish there was like some noteworthy like one-off line that's saying, oh, Galaxy Pegasus spins faster, to really give a finality to the storyline of the performance tip. But yeah, some small things about Galaxy Pegasus. Like I said before, Stardust Driver is my second favorite special move of Jinga's, which is right behind Stormbringer being my favorite special move, which is mostly because it looks the coolest. I like some of the stuff that they did with it, like creating Stormbringer as a tornado that one time. And out of all the Pegasus, Galaxy Pegasus strikes a good balance for entertainment for me, with it being fun to watch because it's like it has very visually appealing special moves with like all the big explosions from Star Booster's hack and Stardust Driver, and also being fun to watch just clash with Beyblades. My favorite just to watch clash with Beyblades is Cosmic Pegasus because of the mode changes. Even though I have some problems with the mode changes, it still is fun to watch Cosmic do the most, right, with the mode changes. But Galaxy comes at a clean second. And also, to address one point that I made, right, with Galaxy feeling weaker after Jinga gained control, one example I have of this is like kind of Galaxy tying with Lexerta in the tag team match with him and Masamune or Striker, and they just kind of tied, which is a bit disappointing. I don't mind it too much since they're just trying to hype up Chiyun. And the final thing is that I love Galaxy Pegasus. I love the design, being possibly my second favorite, right behind Samurai Pegasus, for how it looks with just the small bits of red, the blue fusion wheel, and the light blue energy ring. And I love the concept of Galaxy Pegasus being this strong Beyblade that was hidden away because it was too hard to control. Now, even though I criticized it a lot during this video, I don't want to say anything really bad about Galaxy. That I kind of love it. It's a cool Beyblade to me. But even though I criticized it a lot, I feel like it just had some mishaps. I still like the Beyblade. All I have to say is, have a good day.